Hello, hello. All right. So I'm Nicole with Equally Creative by Nicole, and it is Wednesday night. I am on and ready to share some exciting little gifties with you. And tonight, of course, is one of my favorite ones. And, I had to pick it as the first night because the hardest thing about this particular craft is not eating the candy that fills it. So, if you love Ferrero Rocher like I do, um, and you have had 48 of them sitting around for quite some time now, uh, this is a struggle. I have not had a single one. Very proud of myself for that, but I have a variety of other things to um, chew on here and there, which has not been a healthy solution for me, but we are not doing too terribly. So I do have enough to make 2 more wreaths. I don't know if I have enough cellophane, but what you're going to need to make the cutest little wreath with these Ferrero Rochers, you'll need 6 of them. You're going to need some cellophane wrap, a ribbon, some type of spool of thread. I have the gold thread here. This is the gold twisted thread. And then I have some generic twine with some gold on here. So 6 Ferrero Rochers, cellophane, ribbon, a tag, and some twine or thread to tie in between. So that's what we're getting ready to do. Let's see. I am going to go live 12 different times before the Christmas season. Hopefully plenty early if you want to recreate any of these on your own. Obviously, you can do that. And I will be here to help give you tips and tricks along the way. I did post a schedule to my page, so you're going to want to check that out. I will probably put it in the featured section soon so that you'll know when to go back and peek for the live video for that day. It is not going to be 12 consecutive days. I will be traveling, so I'm going to attempt to come live to you from my camper, which I don't think I've ever done before. So that'll be interesting. But again, I love that I can take my crafting anywhere. So I'm going to go ahead and flip down so that we can get started. Again, we're going to create the cutest little wreath. Let's get started. All right, so I'm going to set this aside. I do have a roll of cellophane, and there's nothing special about it other than it's clear. I'm going to I don't even need to cut it because I've used it all already. So I'm just going to use up what I have. There's no magic measurement here. You just want to make sure it's going to go around the Ferrero Rocher. So obviously this will go around a couple of times. So let's see. I'm going to trim it down the middle just so I can use up the rest of these candies without eating them all myself. So give me 1 second. The trickiest part is making sure you either have sharp scissors or you don't try to do the cut and slide method because the cellophane will just shred. So I did have to do the slice all the way down, which is probably the longest part of this entire thing, is not tearing all of the cellophane. If you use one of those handy little slice tools, I would love to know, because we have not invested in one, but I think about them every year at Christmas or when I'm doing anything with wrapping paper, so birthday presents, etc. So, all right. So the very first thing I found helpful for this was I added a little bit of double-sided adhesive to the bottom of my 6 Ferrero Rochers. It just kind of helped keep them from twisting and turning as I manipulate the cellophane. Okay. I'm hot enough I can take my sweater off now. Okay. So I spaced them out just over a finger width apart. It's not necessarily going to matter how much is on either end. It doesn't have to be even. You're going to trim that down once you have your wreath. So I just used some pretty generic double-sided adhesive, nothing fancy. It doesn't have to be archival quality or anything. You just want to keep them from sliding around, and they still move a tiny little bit, but not too bad. So that's the first tip for this, or second tip, I guess, because you don't want to chop your cellophane wrap, and you don't want your Ferrero Rocher rolling away, because that would just be terrible. So tiny little square underneath each one. Doesn't affect how you're going to eat it later. Okay, so that was the first step. I am going to pull this out. I originally was going to use these, but I don't know. I have enough. I guess I'll still use those. But this is definitely an option. It is what I used for this one, so we'll compare those at the end and see if I like this other one any better. All right, so I am going to just kind of curl this up over here and fold the top over. And this is where that tape was important, because I'm going to tape this on one side, and I did prep a piece of tape right here, kind of in the back, which will end up being the middle. And you really just needed that one piece, but since I trimmed this, I'm going to add a couple more just to make sure everything stays closed. And if my fingers would work, this would be great. Okay, here we go. One more here. Again, only because I trimmed it so small here. My other ones, I just put one big piece on the bottom, and that was fine. And I don't think this is going to be too much different. And then you're just going to simply take your thread, twine, ribbon, however you want to do that, and you're just going to simply tie it. And then I just tied them in bows. And I leave these ends untied, because you're going to tie that once you put the whole piece together into the wreath shape. All right, so we're just going to get all these little things tied here. Oh, my tape came apart. No, I guess it didn't. Illusions. Okay. All right, if you are on and you want to share where you're joining me from, I would love to know. And tell me if this is the type of crafting you do, or you just grab it all at the store on your way to someone's house method, which I have been plenty of times. All right, so we'll do this last one here. If you're catching the replay, let me know. So there's going to be 12 of these cute little videos. Well, I hope they'll all be cute. I mean, I'm the cutest part, but still. All right. So now we have all of those tied. So I am going to fold these in so that those tape pieces are on the inside there. And I am going to scrunch this together at the top. And I'm going to add a little bit of a twist and tie here. And then I'm going to tie it at the top. And then we will add our ribbon, which will add a little bit extra bulk here to create that curved shape. So again, I said we were going to trim this off. So I'm going to grab just some regular old scissors. So now that I trimmed this one really short and narrow, I think I like it better with a little bit more bulk around them. So that's something to think about. I didn't think about it apparently when I was cutting away today, but let's grab some of this beautiful stuff. And you know what I did? So I'm going to untie this a little bit because I'm just going to create a knot right here. And that is what we're going to use to tie the tag on at the end. So, okay. And then I just pull that aside. And then I just had a little bit longer. And I just kind of tuck this in. And I'm leaving these, you can either pull them out the top. I left mine hanging down the bottom. And that way the Santa was right there in the center of that wreath. So this is just a standard bow going on here. It is a wired ribbon, so I can fluff it up after I have kind of decimated it a little bit in the tying process. I can pull this out to make sure my tails are where I want them. So you can twist and finagle your ribbon to where you like it. Get that to twist a little bit better. All right. And I'm going to go ahead and trim this side right here at an angle. Okay, so we have those. And you can see I pushed these little tails right here. So let's go ahead and make a quick tag. And I pulled out Mrs. Claus. This comes from the Sweetest Star bundle or set here. So Santa is on here. You can see him. The gingerbread is really cute too. We're going to go ahead and do Mrs. Claus. So I'm grabbing some Memento ink that has been added to one of the uninked craft stamp pads. And it is filled with Memento refill. Make sure that I'll be able to cut this. Okay. And when you're using Memento ink, you can use your blends to color. So let's see. I think I'm going to use some dark cherry cobbler. And if you are new to watching me, you will quickly learn that when I do things in bulk, which is how I did these, I'm not worried about the fanciest coloring techniques because I can't price something for a sale or put a huge amount of time into coloring things super fancy if I need to make 20 of something or greater. So sometimes we do what I call quick and dirty, where I'm just basically going to use single colors. I'm not going to do a huge amount of blending. I'm going to get a little bit closer for you here so you can see Mrs. Claus. So you can see I'm going to do this red and white combination for her. And just get her all colored up. You can also use a black and white lined image and stamp on a piece of DSP, giving it that different texture and color behind it, and then reducing the need to color at all, because not everybody loves to color. So if you are one of those people, you could easily have stamped this image on one of those cute little backgrounds. So sometimes we have to do a mix of decorative stamping or fun twists on treats, and the rest of the time we want to do quick, dirty, and then we can do frou-frou and fancy when we have a lot of time to plan and invest, or for somebody special, right? I will definitely spend a lot more time on an item that is going to somebody very important, like a spouse or a child for her birthday. Sometimes she gets a little more fancy artwork for hers, where I might do some fun blending, lots of die cuts, etc., etc. But again, when I'm creating things in bulk, sometimes I just need to get it done, and that doesn't afford me a lot of time to invest in the individual pieces. So I know that there are some amazing color artists out there in the Stampin' Up! World, and I will never claim to be one of them. I do not have that kind of artistic style, I should say. Not necessarily that I'm not an artist. I just don't have that style all the time. I do love techniques. I love watercolor a lot. And I like to save that again for those fun, frilly, frou-frou-y special times. All right, so I just cut her out with the Sweetest Star die, punch. And I'm just going to put a little hole in the side here so that I can thread this in here. And I like to go from the back to the front when I'm doing these. I got to get both of those little threads through there though. There we go. All right. You can always trim this piece down later after you have tied it. And because you have a giant bow, you don't have to do another bow. You could just tie a little knot and trim it. Or you can add that extra little bow layer. You can write on the back. This was done with the thick, so if you know blends, they do tend to show a little bit on the back. You can always do a second star and have a backing. So that is tonight's wreath. And looking, and that took us 20-ish minutes to create this. And I'll tell you, I did my stars in bulk, so they went a little quicker to color multiples at once. I'm going to go ahead and see if I can't whip out the last one. So that's what they look like. Since I really don't want to eat, I do want to eat them, but I don't want to eat them, if that makes sense. So I'm hoping that this one has just enough on here to make one last one. So if you missed the beginning, let me share one last time what that looks like. I'll move you out of the way. All right, so we are using 6 Ferrero Rochers, about a finger width apart. You don't want them too far apart, or the circle doesn't form very well. And you don't want them too close together that you can't tie your ribbon later. So let's see if I have enough. Just barely. It's going to look similar to the other one. So actually, I'm going to scoot them closer to this. So I just put a tiny bit of double-sided adhesive underneath each one. It does come off of the little wrapper pretty easily, but somehow it just seemed to stick. It works once I get it onto the cellophane wrap. It just kind of stays. Now, again, I will state that after having these that are a little thinner, I prefer to have probably about an 8-inch width to do these with. It just offers a little bit more bulk when you go to tie that top ribbon. So I did 5 or 6 others already, and they are ready for my next show, which is going to be, I need regular tape for this part. I will be at the Mistletoe and Moss event on November 30th, which is Small Business Saturday in Morgan City. And I'm very excited because I've never done anything in Morgan City. So I'm happy to be visiting some additional towns other than just the one I live in. We are definitely spread out over here in my area. I'm going to add one more piece of tape just to be on the safe side. All right, so let's go ahead and tie all of these. And again, the process is going to be the same. We're going to tie them in knots. You can see how you want them close together like that, and just cinch in your string or thread, whatever you're using is going to work. Twine, some baker's twine would be great. This just happens to have gold in it, which I really liked, along with the wrapper of the Ferrero Rocher. Just offers a little extra, bling to the already blingy Ferrero Rocher, right? This will be the test of whether or not that last piece of tape will be needed. I think it'll be all right. All right. It's so clear right here that it looks like it is wide open, but it's not. So it's just so funny how that looks. Like it's just open in the air, but it's not. All right. Almost ready here. Okay, and then I left this open. We're going to turn this into our circle. Tie this. Okay. And then we're going to use this, tie it at the top here. Now you can kind of fiddle with it. Make sure all of your Ferrero Rochers are facing one direction. They like to twist and turn on their own though once it's all said and done. So don't be surprised if they do that to you. And I'm just tying this one in a knot so that I can add a tag to that later. Let's get ourselves a little bit more of our ribbon. And I did go longer with my ribbon than I probably needed to, but it really helps to have enough to manipulate into that bow at the top. So you may not need as much. I'm going to trim this. And I don't want to pick that up with my hands. Okay. So again, we're just kind of gonna make it happen. Right here. And then turn it into the beautiful bow. And again, because it's a wired ribbon, I can kind of smush it and do what I need to do. And then I can fix it in the end. So let's see, I'm going to pull this one back a little bit. So this end, I think I'm just going to let it, I really like it when it goes down, but they don't all lay exactly the way you want them, but you can fiddle with them a good bit and get it looking pretty nice. And actually, I don't even have to trim anything here. So let's do one more. We will do another Mrs. Claus because she is already dirty. So we will use her again, but we will color her in a different color this time. All right. So there she is. Okay, so now I have this beautiful empty Ferrero Rocher box. What should I do with it? Tell me, tell me. All right, let's see. She kind of sort of has gray hair, so maybe I'll add a little bit of a silver touch to her hair this time. This is light smoky slate. It's probably the closest to silvery white hair that I can get. Okay, let's see. I think I'm going to throw something pink on her. We'll give her a pink apron this time. So we'll do a pink band and pink for the main part of her apron, and we'll leave the ruffle to be white. Hi, Dana. Glad you could stop by. I wish you lived closer, or I lived closer to you. I'd probably like your weather better, actually. All right, we're going really, really non-traditional because I'm going to put some light Lost Lagoon on Mrs. Claus. She said, I don't want to wear red all the time, so I'm going to add some light Lost Lagoon. And she's keeping her white ruffles. All right. Give her some color on her sleeves. This is what I envision I look like as a grandmother. Doesn't she look Italian? She looks like she wants to serve you some homemade lasagna or raviolis. I just don't have the silver hair yet. We had pajama day at school, and now all I see is a Nana in pajamas with an apron. Okay, here she is. A non-traditional Mrs. Claus. I mean, she can't wear red all year round, right? She could, I guess. I don't even know. All right. Let's see. Can I get another star out of this? I don't think I can. You know, sometimes you can kind of twist and shout, right? Okay. So this is going to be very, very close. So I'll show you what I was talking about earlier. We will go ahead and do a hole punch here, and then I'm just going to layer this, and I'm going to line that punch right back up and get that second one. Then I didn't kill my hands trying to do two at once, but now you have a solid back that doesn't show through. Okay, so you can just tie that on like this. Okay, so there we have 3 of our Ferrero Rocher wreaths. All right, so let me know who you would give one of these to. I'm going to bring them to the market on next Saturday, but I am debating grabbing another one of these 48 count Ferrero Rocher boxes because I think some administrators might enjoy some Ferrero Rochers. So that might be something that I do for some of my teammates at work. Again, keep your eyes out. I'll be back tomorrow with another cute little gift idea. And that's pretty much it. Keep coming back. There's going to be 12 days total. And a special, if you're on my mailing list, you will receive a special little gift in an upcoming email. So keep your eyes peeled. All right. I'll see you guys again tomorrow. Have a great night. Bye.